Open Sesame, alright, boy Chose, man. Like, subscribe, enjoy the reaction. If not for enough, you are trash. Y'all know me, man. The most honest and funniest reactor out of here. I've done a lot of reaction to UK Drill. This documentary was suggested to me. You guys made the vote. You guys wanted to see UK Drill over Sweden first. So, we're going to react. I'm going to split this up in parts. It's going to be very long. So, we're going to do our best to get as much done in the first part as possible. So, let's have some fun. But let's also be honest and let's just listen, man, because I owe that to the way I react. If I react to the music side, I gotta at least react to the real side too as well. You know what I'm saying? Video contains themes of violence, the warning. Language game, the content of this video is for education and documentary person is not intended to incite or encourage legal behavior in any way. All that stuff is on the screen. I want you guys to see it as well. And I agree.
Themes of violence, death, and gang activity. This video is an educational documentary. It does not intend to glorify, incite, or encourage illegal behavior. All of the information is taken from public sources and is shown on the basis of fair use. I've made every—
Oh, Flameser, you're from North London. Oh, snap, bro. It's been a while. The last documentary I think I did, I reacted to SJ's. SJ's wasn't any crazy, though. I don't think I dropped SJ's, my reaction to SJ's documentary. My Aussie drill reaction was like the last real big documentary that I did.
Effort to ensure accuracy of the sources, but I am not responsible for any content third parties have published. Every effort has been made to censor this video in accordance with YouTube's community guidelines, but if you want to see an uncut 4.5-hour version of this video, you can do so on patreon.com/traplawross. But if you're not interested in that, just hit the subscribe button and prepare to hear one of the craziest stories ever told. Today, I'm here in Agar Grove, birthplace of one of London's most notorious and dangerous street gangs, Active Gang. And you might recognise the building behind me from the cover art of the album Suspicious Activity by Active Gang member Suspect, recorded whilst he was on
Active Gang is with my mans that made oh my god, I'm forgetting bro's name. That made the most wildest diss song of all time. Am I tripping or yeah?
on the run from 2 murder charges. He was eventually caught in Kenya and extradited back to the UK to face justice. Today, I'll be telling you the full story of Suspect, Active Gang, and one of the bloodiest gang wars ever to touch the streets of London. I've been covering the most famous and dangerous stories from hip-hop history for years now. From the gang-controlled blocks of Chicago's South Side to the bullet-riddled palm trees of Jacksonville in northern Florida. And it seems that no matter the city, if you look hard enough, there's always a crew of hardened gangsters that control the streets and are willing to kill to protect what's theirs. But ever since the 2010s, when Chicago Drill emerged, it seems that behind every gang, there soon emerges a gangster rapper. One of those people who had lived the dangerous gang lifestyle and eventually found a way of telling their story through music. Since the emergence of a teenage gang member named Chief Keef from Chicago's O Block, gangster rappers have emerged from all around the world, turning their pain into art and forging a path out of the dangerous lifestyle that so often ends in tragedy. Since Chief Keef, countless names have emerged. Lil Durk, Young Thug, Pop Smoke, just to name a few, artists who made their mark on the music world with their story.
What was that? What's that one? What's the wildest diss song? Nah, what's the wildest diss song of all time, bro? When they had a skeleton. Bro, he had a skeleton in the video in the second one. Oh, Absav. Absav. I was thinking about Absav. My fault. Yeah, Absav isn't my fault. I'm thinking Absav is with Active Gang. That's me. I'm tripping. I'm tripping. That's me. Yeah, I was mixing up Active. I don't know why I thought Absav was with Active Gang. That's my fault. Allegedly, this is all alleged. Yeah, wrong people. Yeah, I was tripping, bro. I just want to say this, like. Let me go back a little bit.
Dangerous lifestyle that so often ends in tragedy. Since Chief Keef, countless names have emerged. Lil Durk, Young Thug, Pop Smoke, just to name a few, artists who made their mark on the...
I don't really put Young Thug in the same bracket as Chief Keef. Even though Young Thug is fighting a RICO right now. I believe it is a RICO state edition, not federal. Yeah, I just don't put Young Thug in that same wave, which is interesting. I think it's because his sound was just so unique. I don't know. That's a good. I think logically he does fit in the category, but I just never put him in there because y'all listen. Flames just said Chief Keef was Chief Keef, bro. Like I don't know. I think the album officially only sold like 60,000, bro. Chief Keef was that guy. Like I don't like he impacted the world for real. What do you want to say in a positive or negative light, bro? Chicago Drill was everything. Like, when I Don't Like dropped, that was the hottest song like ever. It's like all ages was listening to Chief Keef. Especially around 20, bro. Glow Gang? Bro, glow up. Bro, she need to glow up. Bro, he really made up his own slang, like, need to glow up. Like, bro, I had to glow up. People still say I had to glow up. Like, that's from Glow Gang. Bro, dead ass. Like I don't think people understand. We still say glow up. It comes from Chief Keef saying Glow Gang. Like, it's crazy. And the thing about, like I said, I would definitely put Pop Smoke, because they're drill. They're New York drill. So, but that Chicago drill scene, man, was crazy. There was a lot of different sounds too that all came from around the way. There was Lil Bibby comes from the Chicago drill sound. Lil Durk, G Herbo, King Louis. There's a lot of others as well that are missed. Lil Reese, obviously. Fredo Santana, RP Fredo. Obviously the FBG side as well. And then King Von later in. But in 2012, bro, when it was going like insane, bro, World in a Lock. World in a Lock, man. I was a person that I used to like, y'all, because I couldn't understand every lyric She Keef had. I remember his first day out song, I couldn't really understand it, so I went back and I re-listened to it 100,000 times. So, but I never put Young Thug. I feel like Young Thug was I never put Young Thug in like drill. I never did. He was rapping. Young Thug was rapping aggressively, but I never put Young Thug in drill music. Like, I don't know why. That's interesting. I never thought about that. What do y'all think?
Of gang life coming out of their respective cities. Each of them has a different sound, style, and cadence.
Yeah, like, we back. I don't know if is drill music just rap, just gangster rap. Cause I feel like it's even like it's a little more like it's different. Like, I feel like Young Thug was just like more like just gangster rap, but like that drill, like, bro, like they was, I don't know.
Underneath is the same formula. The DNA of drill music has spread around the world and mutated, with each city establishing its own unique style. I love drill music, from Chirac to Sydney. But there's one question I constantly get asked. Is there anywhere in the UK that gets as active as Chicago? You don't know the half of it. Because when it comes to gangster rappers in UK drill, or the UK's capital city, London...
Nah, there's an element of the best being different too. At least in the UK. Okay. I'm not gonna lie, from all the UK drill, there's definitely some differences. No one's as bad as New York. New York is like the same people. Like, New York is crazy. But I definitely think Nito, MB, and like Digga D don't sound exactly the same. And I don't think who's another guy that's like really talented? Obviously PR Sad and even Digga don't sound exactly the same, right? PR Sad and Suspect don't sound exactly the same. So.
London specifically, there's a whole bunch of hoods and a whole bunch of demons raising hell and waging war on their respective ops. But when it comes to the most dangerous and demonic rappers in London, one name stands above them all.
The Suspect.
And that's Suspect. Hailing from the infamous London borough of Camden, Suspect and his affiliates in the legendary street crew turned rap collective, Active Gang, have brought years of carnage to the streets of North London, with deadly knife battles taking place just minutes away from some of London's busiest tourist hotspots. Active Gang and their enemies turned up the violence to 11, and quite literally single-handedly raised the crime rate in their community, with multiple murders taking place on both sides of the war, and innocent victims, women and children, frequently being caught in the crossfire. Often with the people doing the shooting or stabbing, doing it without leaving a trace, leaving local police and politicians completely incapable of stopping them. But when Suspect and his affiliates seemingly murdered two rivals in the space of only a few months, with the police hot on their trail, members of Active Gang would have to flee the city of London and hide out as long as they could, sparking an international game of cat and mouse, with British bobbies desperately trying to use social media to track down Camden's most notorious killers. All the while, Suspect himself was recording and releasing some of the most shocking and violent drill songs the UK rap game had ever seen, bragging about the murders that he committed openly in his music, even referring to himself with the menacing title, The Grim Reaper of Agar Grove, and all while using body doubles and diversion tactics to trick the authorities and rap fans into believing that he was still active and lurking on the streets of London.
Nah, that is kind of crazy. I ain't gonna hold you. That is kind of crazy. Bro is on the run dropping music. That is wild. That is wild. That is kind of wild. On the run, like, they after you for a murder, you're like, yeah, bro, I'm the Grim Reaper. Hey, yo. Yo, it's crazy. TK was trying to do. TK basically did this as well. Tried to do it as well. Obviously, did not end up. He got like 50 years or something. something like that. They got a lot of years. But the worst part about everything in the entertainment industry, and I'm gonna say this, man, is that everyone likes it to feel real. Even in movies, when we know they're actors, the best actors make you believe them. To the point that some actors, the character that they play is forever a part of them because they played it so well. It's also a different personality of them now. So that's what makes everything kind of an interesting space, especially with music, right? Music just hits different when you believe someone is really in a certain style, living a certain lifestyle. For instance, scary movies. You put just based on a true story, even if only like 2 minutes of the story is based on it, you put that in there, everybody wants to go see the movie. The movie hits different now. The scary movie hits different now than it's based on a true story. It's kind of sad.
The story of Suspect, Active Gang, their rivals, and their victims is one of the most wild and tragic stories ever to have been told on the streets of London. But that story has never truly been told in detail from start to finish until now. So prepare yourself to learn once and for all the whole shocking and true story behind London's most gruesome gangster rapper.
You got growth. If it ain't the A, then you're getting popped, boy.
You're live with BBC News, just some breaking news.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. 2 men have been stabbed to death.
Nowhere be at.
6 people were injured.
Nobody outside.
Bro, get behind the scenes? Nah, there's no way. Is that the post credits? Nah, that's wild, bro. Nah, that's wild, bro. There's no way he just gave a post credit scene. This nigga gave us drill bloopers. Nah, that's wild. Hey, y'all see me? You know what I mean? All set. You know what I mean? Get it in. You know what I'm saying? Who'd have thought? You know what I mean? My boy in the back. Nigga, is that blood on you? Nah, bro, ketchup. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Just had some fries. You know what I'm saying? Bro gave an aftermath special. Nah, that's wild. Bro was saving that for the 30 for 30 ESPN. Nah, this is wild. This is wild. This is wild, Joe.
There must have been some beef and someone called Calvin died.
C-Miz and his cousin split up, but unfortunately the men who jumped out of the car locked onto C-Miz, and C-Miz ended up dropping to the ground when the 71st member started to stab him repeatedly with machetes and then run from the scene.
Get back inside.
And then whoever was in the car pulled out a shotgun and sprayed pellets into the crowd.
I've always said we should toughen up our gun laws.
In 2 separate attacks in Kentish Town in North London last night.
Tragic incidents.
Nobody done anything for that guy, for that brother who passed away, and we ask Allah to have mercy upon him.
Culprit was running for his life and literally screaming for help, banging on neighbours' doors to let him in so he could escape his attackers.
Jeffrey Wegby was pursued and fatally shot inside his home address in Brent.
And we used to fight against these African, British guys, mixed race guys.
They are going to go out and kill any Somali.
That a music video shoot had been shot up, and it was none other than Active Gangs.
Active Gang.
Where do you get your name Suspect for?
Is it a race thing? UK mans don't have guns. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, that is a thing in US. We always told y'all don't have guns. So to say that y'all have a gun problem is kind of crazy coming from us. I ain't gonna lie. Coming from us, like, y'all don't have nowhere near the gun problem that we have. And I feel like y'all are pretty strict, but you know. What like, is there a race thing going on? That's always interesting. Because I'm not gonna lie, like in LA, like the Latino community and blacks, you know, get along, but you know, it be some energy at times in LA, you know.
Do you catch bodies?
Got a few man under his belt.
See this rapping thing, obviously, like, you don't do this rapping thing without, like, the proof in the pudding.
Nah, I'm not even about that life.
71st members made a song called Congo.
Oh, it's that time. Who's in there though? Bugsy, who's in there?
And the reason why they called it Congo is because C-Miz was actually a refugee from Congo after him and his family fled the war from over there. And members repeatedly in their songs say that they get their from Congo, not Cali.
This one here, yeah, you know who that one is?
Yeah.
This one, that's that free, that's a
Get their stuff from oh damn, it is a race thing. Okay, it's like I said, diverse. That makes sense because it's like in LA. There's a lot of different races, and although LA, you know, California, a very democratic state, there's some racial tensions. You know, everybody kind of tries to leave the other race alone. Like we know, you know, what area you in. And not everybody get along. Not everybody gets along.
Combo.
That one's a combo.
Suspect AGB sentencing is today, I believe.
2 of the men that were standing trial fled the country.
He's in another country, a free man.
Wait.
Yo, where is London, bro? Because y'all do be leaving. I feel like almost every rapper I know in the UK be leaving the country. Like, do y'all be like, yeah, we gotta take a road trip. Yeah, we gotta. Like, bro, is that easy to leave the country? Like, damn.
I can't even give out locations. No, I gotta stay low.
All them funny comments. That's all that matters.
Nah, that's a crazy title.
You have to be ready.
Bro, I promise y'all be. I feel like everybody be leaving the country like it's a bus pass. Like, bro, what is going on? Is that easy to leave the country?
Not to be confused with Camden, New Jersey.
Because even in Top Boy, bro,
one
went
of the
to
most dangerous cities in America. The London borough of Camden is one of the most famous.
My fault. Because even in Top Boy, bro, just left the country, like it was nothing. I think in Top Boy he went to Jamaica.
Camden, New Jersey, which is often ranked as one of the most dangerous cities in America, the London borough of Camden is one of the most famous tourist spots our city has to offer. To the casual visitor, it would be difficult to see how this thriving area with its bustling markets and high property prices could be so dangerous beneath the surface. But that's the thing about London. Unlike the sprawling cities of the United States, being such a densely populated area, you might go from standing next to a multi-million-pound property and turn one corner and find yourself in the middle of one of the city's most deprived council estates, or projects as you Americans would probably call it.
I'm gonna say, respectfully, Traveler Ross, that is, you obviously have never been to Los Angeles. I am from Long Beach, California. That is what a densely populated area is, though, is the fact that you can turn the corner. I myself live right next to a project, and I come from a 2-parent household, decent income. So the fact that I'm around the corner from that is kind of wild. That is what makes actually Los Angeles specifically, like I said, I don't know too much about New York. I know on the East Coast, everything else is more farther apart. If you do go to LA, Miami is kind of like that too when I visited. If you go to LA, there will be a project right by an extremely nice area, and that's what makes LA so dangerous, is that if you're not from there, you will think you are in a great area, and you are not. So, just just wanted to, what he said about London. That's what he said about London. Oh, yeah, so everything's around the corner. So I just wanted to make it clear, because I'm an American, LA is like that as well. You will end up in the wrong place, and you probably shouldn't be here. But LA is known as Hollywood. You see all these celebrities, and it's nice, and and because of the level of income that you have to have in LA, the houses don't look as bad as the houses in, like, maybe the East Coast poor, or the houses in the South poor. So if you coming from the East or South, and you like, oh, am I in the hood? These houses look good. You are in the hood. That's LA's hood. So yeah, it's kind of, but it'll be harder to tell because you're used to a hood looking a certain way. So I just had to say that, y'all. I had to defend my fault. I had to kind of shed some light on that. Being from the city myself.
Not to be confused with Camden, New Jersey, which is often ranked as one of the most dangerous cities in America, the London borough of Camden is one of the most famous tourist spots our city has to offer. To the casual visitor, it would be difficult to see how this thriving area with its bustling markets and high property prices could be so dangerous beneath the surface. But that's the thing about London. Unlike the sprawling cities of the United States, being such a densely populated area, you might go from standing next to a multi-million-pound property and turn one corner and find yourself in the middle of one of the city's most deprived council
exactly
estates,
like LA.
or projects as you Americans would probably call it. Camden itself is located in northwest London and is one of the 32 boroughs, meaning administrative areas, that make up Greater London. The current borough of Camden was created in 1965 when London's administrative area was expanded to incorporate the Greater London, and it includes districts or neighbourhoods, many of which are famous for their ostentatious wealth, such as Hampstead, Kentish Town, Camden Town, Kilburn, Somers Town, King's Cross, St Pancras, Chalk Farm, Haverstock, and Gospel Oak. One of these neighbourhoods you are most likely to be aware of is Camden Town, also often just called Camden, that the borough is named after, and that's where much of the events of this video will take place. Camden Town has been known around the world since the 1960s as the heart of London's art and cultural scene, with it being home to famous music venue The Roundhouse, where acts like Pink Floyd performed in their early years. In later decades, Camden's music venues and bars were scenes where bands like Coldplay and Oasis first made their names. And over the years, through every era of music, Camden has been home to many famous musicians, including the singer Amy Winehouse, with her unfortunately being found dead in her $3.5 million Camden Square home in 2011. Nowadays, a statue of Amy Winehouse can be seen in Camden, and her former home has become a tourist attraction to her fans, despite it having new owners. owners. Moreover, over the years, Camden has been a breeding ground for many different urban youth countercultures like the punks, ravers, and hippies. Ultimately, Camden is one of those places where outsiders and nonconformists can fit in, call home, and flourish. And perhaps as a result of the openness and tolerance fostered in the area, over the years, Camden, or more specifically Camden Town, has become a tourist attraction in its own right. Best known for its popular street market specializing in arts, counterculture and alternative clothing, delicious and trendy street food, and maybe the odd bit of counterfeit designer clothing and smoking accessories that I'm sure fans of this channel will probably enjoy. In fact, speaking of smoke shops, Camden has for a long time been known to be a hotspot for illegal drug markets, sometimes even being referred to as the Amsterdam of the UK. Despite Camden's countercultural ethos still being somewhat intact, the area has also gained attention in recent years for arguably going through a significant gentrification, similar to many other boroughs of London.
It's just crazy when we think about it that we're talking about Camden is so weird because mans are active over there, but it's a tourist place too. I feel like New York. I haven't been to New York, but I feel like New York is kind of that way too. Y'all, I'm telling you, y'all go to Miami. Miami is not sweet. Please don't think Miami, bro. Like literally, it's in Miami, and I turned, and there was like literally a project right by a place called Brickell, and you're like, is this a project right by like the quote unquote rich area of Miami or like a nicer part of Miami? Like, why are y'all so close? I think it's always fascinating that some of the best things come out of the most quote unquote low income high crime field areas. All the creators, the musicians, like we just seen the ideas, the food. Like I always say, like in LA, like bro, like I'm from Long Beach though, but the best food be in the worst areas. And it sound crazy, but you risk your life for the best food. You be like, oh, the best Louisiana fried chicken, not Popeyes in LA. Louisiana fried chicken is in like one of the worst areas. It's the best though. Like some of the best foods in the worst areas. And so it's always, fascinating that in some of the, high crime rate, quote unquote dangerous areas, the best people come out of, right? The most creative people come out of, the most inspiring people come out of. So it's always fascinating that trend is not only just seen in America, but in the UK, and it's been seen around the world, really. That although these areas cause a lot of pain, that pain is also used as fuel at times for people to just be great and create the best, right? Because, every time, everybody that's been around the hood or whatever be like, man, you go to another area, you like, man, this food not even that good, bro. You really need to go use them. If they just had the money, they had the marketing, they be up out of here. Because they really got the stuff. Y'all like, they really got the stuff, man. It's just crazy.
London, which despite the natives struggling with rising costs of living, the push still continues to demolish affordable housing and replace it with multi-million-pound new build developments, often only affordable to the super wealthy, often even being used as investments for overseas investors, meaning that many of these expensive and new homes built in these areas are often left empty, all while wealthy Chinese and Russian investors cash in on the constantly rising property markets in London from the comfort of overseas, without ever even stepping foot in Camden and risking a potential shanking. This gentrification process only tells part of the story, because Camden really is an area with some of the biggest wealth gaps and income inequality in the United Kingdom. As I mentioned at the start, many of the poorest estates in London exist literally a block away from multi-million-pound mansions. These are the kind of multi-million-pound mansions you might expect to see in prime spots right next to Camden Square, which is only 6 minutes walk away from the formerly neglected Agar Grove estate. This estate is home to the depressing council block Lulworth House, which was featured prominently on the cover of Suspect's album Suspicious Activity, and is the birthplace of the menacing street crew Active Gang, who we will be discussing extensively in this video. Now, when I went to visit the area, I was struck by just how much this depressing and brutalist old council block stood out amongst the newly built private luxury developments surrounding it.
It's oh man, like it's so crazy because when we talk about capitalism, and I have my opinion on it, but there was a strong wealth gap that happened, I believe, in the 80s in America when a lot of people lost jobs when they were transported overseas. And it's not inflation. The wealth gap actually increased, and it was never corrected. So when we talk about things, it's crazy because we as kids, we always remember if you ever played a team or class battle or whatever, everyone always says you're only as good as your weakest link. So if your weakest link is so bad off that they can barely even make food to get by, I mean, what are we doing? Because a lot of people choose a certain life because of the fact that, well, they got to get by. So instead of maybe correcting a wealth gap, you just leave people where they are. And you're only as good as your weakest link. That's what we've all been told. So it's always interesting. But yeah, it is weird tourist destination, but it's a wild place. I'm telling you, that's like LA.
In the neighbourhood.
I
Anyway,
feel like
despite
New
their
York too.
close proximity to the multi-million-pound properties, the British equivalent of public housing or the projects, known here as council housing or council estates, tend to be the areas where gang violence is most common. Now, it's important to remind you that when I say estate, I'm not talking about a large, luxurious swathe of land somewhere in the countryside, along with a luxurious mansion and swans. So-called council estates are typically large, publicly owned projects that offer affordable social housing, generally cramming as many families on low pay into cramped apartment buildings. However, nowadays, many of the old council estates are being torn down and to a lesser extent replaced by private housing associations run for profit. Part of the reason this has been allowed to happen is because of the bad reputation that council estates have fostered, becoming notorious hotspots for criminal activity and antisocial behaviour. In the UK, we also have a right to buy policy, which allows individuals that are living in social housing the opportunity to actually buy that property privately from the government. That would give an individual that's living on social housing a great opportunity to take their first step on the ladder towards homeownership. But the unfortunate side effect of that policy means that the next person who's looking for social housing is less likely to find it because the government are slowly selling off the social housing and not replacing them. This is a significant contributor to the UK's ongoing housing crisis, and it's a big reason why the housing in London is so ridiculously expensive. And unfortunately, despite all the
So they like, yeah, this is all we got. Why don't y'all just make more? Ah! If you even make it that far.
tourists and rich inhabitants, as well as Camden's close proximity to London's high-earning financial districts, the social unrest in Camden's poor communities and social housing has led Camden to become increasingly dangerous over the years, with particularly brutal murders taking place right on the streets, sometimes even in broad daylight. But before getting more in-depth on the gangs in the area that are driving this violent crime, on a more positive note, Camden also has a rich history when it comes to UK rap music. For example, one of the first real breakthrough UK rap groups hails from Camden, the infamous and divisive rap trio N-Dubz, who were among the first British rap groups to gain popularity when UK rap went from underground to the national mainstream during the 2000s. In the late noughties, a new wave of
never heard of him a day in my life. Like my life. I would search them on my phone. I think my phone's allergic, respectfully. It's cool.
British gangster rap emerged called road rap. This saw artists such as South London's own Gxng gaining national popularity by showing an authentic look at Britain and especially London's gang underworld. In many ways, the British road rap wave predates and foreshadowed the gritty and raw visual aesthetics
been rapping since that long?
music videos would end up popularizing globally years later. Some young gang-affiliated rappers from Camden would also start dropping songs, including artists like Ambush, Prospect, and Rowdy, who repped the Queen's Crescent gang located in the postcode NW5 in the Kentish Town neighbourhood. In fact, Queen's Crescent, or QC, has been considered as one of the most notorious hoods in Camden for some time due to extensive gang activity. And while Ambush made a considerable name for himself in the British rap scene since then, unfortunately in 2012, Rowdy, real name Sean Ferdinand, ended up receiving a life sentence for allegedly stabbing and killing a young man and attempting to kill another. By mid-2010s, many of Camden's gangs were actually united under one banner called Cracktown, or CT. And in 2015, Cracktown affiliates YD...
It's a crazy name. That's crazy. N-Dubz was cold, I won't lie. Okay, Cracktown is a crazy name. Cracktown is crazy. Like, I ain't gonna lie. Listen, man, like, I'm not deep into the drug scene. Listen, this looks like 2010s, I think he just said. If you... Listen, bro, if you doing crack... Hey, you missed it, brother. Hey. You missed it, brother. The 80s came in with, brother. You a little late. I know you allergic to being on time. If you did crack in the 20, I like, bro, there's people that do like heroin and crack. I be like, bro, I genuinely be like, how do y'all make money? Like, who is doing these? Like, we know now. Like, there's no like, wow, there's this new quote unquote drug on the block. This brand new thing. The high is crazy. Like, we don't know what it does. Did you not watch any 80s, like, anything of the 80s? Like, nothing? Nothing. Fucking teeth gone, and you still like, I should do that. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's about the same thing with cigarettes. I'm like, bruh, people that smoke cigarettes, I'm like, especially in I know, like, a lot of people smoke, foreigners smoke more than Americans. There's still a lot of Americans, young Americans that smoke cigarettes, and I'm like, but you know what it does. Like, at least a lot of the people before when it was popular, it's like, oh, we didn't know it was this bad. Like, you know, though. Like, it's right there on your face. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, did you know we could see you? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like somebody be like, you know I'm gonna rob you of your contract. I will rob you. And you like, yeah, no, who cares? Let me slide right here. What?
and JP would release their song Man Down, which is arguably one of the first UK drill songs recorded in North London to gain prominence. This was just a little while after the UK drill genre had been emerged, mainly coming out of South London, with pioneering South London drillers from sets like 150 from Brixton being some of the first British rappers to make drill music influenced by Chicago drill. Sadly, the music video for Man Down also seems to mark one of the last times that these different Camden gang sets known as Cracktown came together on good terms whilst pursuing more positive goals like music. Because soon after this video released, the music side of Camden gang life would slow down as members would focus on a deadly war that was brewing in the streets. And sadly, in the years that followed that music video, many of the young men depicted in it would find themselves being forced to pick a side in what would end up becoming one of the most violent street feuds London had ever seen.
Damn. You can say the same about alcohol, though. Well, I would say this about alcohol. It's like alcohol will mess up your liver down the road, right? Like, but the thing between alcohol and cigarettes, it's like a foregone conclusion that you're for sure going to get lung cancer. And everybody around you will also potentially get cancer from it. Alcohol, you probably drink in moderation. Obviously, not every single day. Your liver, you might have liver issues. You may have liver issues. But there's also a large amount of people that make it. And it's like, oh, well, my liver's good. And the ones that do have liver problems, it's like they were drinking every moment of every second of the day. It's like, bro, what are you doing, bro? Like, and like heroin and crack, like, bro, you know how crazy like withdrawals from like heroin and crack. Like that. Like, bro, heroin, like, you know what crack is like, bro? Are you serious? Like, bro, you know what it does to you. Like, in 5 to 10 years, you're gonna look crazy. Bro, you know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she over there giving head for crack. Like, that's what you want to do? Like, people suck dick for crack. You want to do that? Like, that's wild. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's an insane. Like, heroin too, I'm like, bro, you would do like people that do like, I'm like, bro, you know, you know now it's crazy. Like, I couldn't even be around somebody. Like, I'd be like, you're an idiot. Get away from me, bro. Yeah. Yeah. You the type I ask for the homework. I give you my homework to copy. You forget to write. You copy my name on it. Get away from me. Get away from me. Like, you're done. Like, I can't even. At least back in the day, they didn't know. So it's kind of wild. But let's continue. Change, man. Oh, did I mute it? Oh, I muted it. My fault.
Of up to 24 murders with his Yardie Hit Squad gang, one of
what
many
the hell?
Caribbean gangs that operated in London.
What the hell?
Camden, like other boroughs of London that had significant populations struggling with poverty, has for a long time been affected by gangs. For example, notorious former gangster Marvin Herbert grew up in Camden. He was suspected of up to 24 murders with his Yardie Hit Squad gang, one of many Jamaican Caribbean gangs.
Man, if y'all don't call James Bond, what in the hell? By the 19th, a drop in government resulted in less money being paid by local parts to the gangs of armed supporters. These political Yardie gangs thus increasingly turned to apolitical criminal activities such as drug trafficking, and at the same time, the Jamaican government severely cracked down on Yardie gangs for
gangs that operated in London during that period. Herbert, who is now in his 50s and a reformed public speaker, youth worker, and YouTuber, has discussed in numerous interviews and videos his upbringing in the rough working class estates in Camden, where his family moved to from Liverpool when he was young. Raised by a drug dealer father who commonly beat up both him and his mother, Herbert fell into the life of crime and gangs since a very young age, until he was apparently shot numerous times in 2008, causing him to lose one of his eyes and eventually making him leave the life of gangs and crime behind. In the 90s, the Camden neighborhood of Somerstown saw many Caucasian families moving out, with many migrant families, particularly Asian backgrounds, migrating to the area and calling it home. Unfortunately, due to racial tensions in the area, this would eventually lead to a race war between the poorest white youths still living there and the Asian youths who had moved in recently. The animosity in the area between...
That is so interesting. Just like if you go back and watch history about especially the West LA hoods specifically, a lot of the poor areas used to be owned by white owners and they were leaving. And then so black people were coming in, usually from the East, moving into California, a different life, coming into housing. And those used to be white-owned neighborhoods, but it's not just LA. It's usually a lot. If you look at a lot of different communities like that. So that's interesting. A lot of the white people were leaving. But to see tensions in Asian community, that's why some budding Asian rivalries in California, SoCal to be exact, between races, racial tensions. But it's interesting that I wouldn't have thought though, like poor whites would have stayed at all though, and there would have been that much for tensions to grow. So that's interesting. This is very fascinating. I'm sorry for the pauses.
Camden, like other boroughs of London that have significant populations struggling with poverty, has for a long time been affected by gangs. For example, notorious former gangster Marvin Herbert grew up in Camden. He was suspected of up to 24 murders with his Yardie Hit Squad gang, one of many Jamaican Caribbean gangs that operated in London during that period. Herbert, who is now in his 50s and a reformed public speaker, youth worker and YouTuber, has discussed in numerous interviews and videos his upbringing in the rough working class estates in Camden, where his family moved to from Liverpool when he was young. Raised by a drug dealer father who commonly beat up both him and his mother, Herbert fell into the life of crime and gangs since a very young age, until he was apparently shot numerous times in 2008, causing him to lose one of his eyes and eventually making him leave the life of gangs and crime behind. In the 90s, the Camden neighborhood of Somerstown saw many Caucasian families moving out, with many migrant families of particularly Asian backgrounds migrating to the area and calling it home. Unfortunately, due to racial tensions in the area, this would eventually lead to a race war between the poorest white youths still living there and the Asian youths who had moved in recently. The animosity in the area between these two groups exploded after a 15-year-old white boy, Richard Everett, was stabbed to death by a gang of British Bangladeshi youths who were apparently seeking revenge against another white youth in the area. After this, white youth gangs begun patrolling the streets of Somerstown, attacking anyone of Asian background that they came across, even firebombing a halal butcher shop. This was an incredibly violent and volatile time in Camden, and ironically, despite the media attention surrounding the current UK drill scene and the violence it's allegedly responsible for, the homicide rate in the UK actually peaked in the early 2000s. This was reflected in Camden, which was perceived to be particularly out of control at the time, with violent crime and gang clashes leading papers to argue that Camden Town was up there with some of the world's worst murder capitals. Gangs in London around this time were also generally much larger than they are now, with as many as 100 members in each gang.
Damn, 100 members? 100 members, bro? You know what? That's crazy too, because bro, this is so crazy. It's really like mimics America and the UK have like the same story around the same time, because like there's still people that allegedly gangbang, but gangbanging is nowhere near as much as it used to be, especially in LA. Because everyone above my age talk like, nah, bro, gangbanging used to be it was a little different, brother. The people that like 30, 35, 40, they're like, nah, gangbanging it was a wild time, brother. So it's crazy to hear this type of, you know what I'm saying, like this type of stuff, because it's like the same timeline for everything. It's crazy.
One former gang member, Omar Sharif, explained in an insider interview, the gangs back then were often unified under large postcode districts and not single estates or blocks.
Gang wars can start over the smallest things or the biggest things. Smallest things could be they were at a club or a rave, and from there someone gets stabbed, and then it's a whole, we need to retaliate, we need to send a message, we need to show them who we are. So they round up everyone, and then it's now not just one person versus one person, it's actually a gang versus gang, postcode versus postcode, and now we're talking 50 to 100 people plus. It got to a point where we were having postcode wars, meaning it was my block, NW1 versus NW5. Postcode wars are also named interstate wars. This is something that started even in the 60s, 70s, which areas became smaller or bigger, and it's a way of protecting territory. Now there are things called block wars, estate wars, which are even within the same postcode. There is such rivalry, there is such demand for who is more important, so it goes from area, postcode, now to blocks, which creates further division.
Meaning that his gang, which...
It's so interesting, man. The male ego, man, it's tough, man. Especially if you think about it, like a lot of... If you ever... Roads would be shut off. It literally was a war. Damn. The postcode wars was the same back in the day. It literally was a war. Roads would be shut off. It's crazy, bro. Damn, that's wild, bro. Because, you know, I think, like, cameras, like, it was a different life. It was a different life. Even early 2000s was way different than now. Cameras and everything else. So it was a lot of freedom, a lot of wild stuff that went on. And we not even... And I can't even imagine what the 70s, right? 80s was. Ego. Male ego, man. It's interesting. Especially a bunch of young dudes, man. If everyone's young, man, what young dudes all gonna get along, man. The young egos all gonna get along, man. Somebody wanna be the man. Everybody wanna be the man. Not everybody can be the man. Right? So, and emotional, a lot of hormones around that time, so it's only right. And then stuff probably started over a woman. right? You might have been hitting young and broke too, young and broke, right? And we trying to get it, and everybody want to be the man and getting this and getting that, and I'm pretty sure some arguments start over a girl, right? Start over a woman, so which is, you know, pretty normal throughout history, not just UK and history, world history, period. So it's kind of sad and crazy when you think about it, man. And not even just that, just with every generation. And people be like, oh, the OGs, they're OGs. There do has to be somebody that has a respect for the OGs, but just like with everything, youngins, it's only so long a young man gonna listen to a old head. Because there will be a clash where it's like, man, we ain't trying to hear what the old head's talking about.
Rep the postcode district NW1 that covers a large section of South Camden were beefing with the entire area of the postcode district NW5, which covers much of North Camden. In 2007, a document by Scotland Yard's Special Crime Directorate that was seemingly leaked to news outlets and online listed a whopping 257 gangs allegedly operating in Greater London boroughs. In Camden, the document, which was at the time argued to already be a little bit outdated, listed a total of 8 gangs active in the area. This included the Born Sick Crew, Centric Gang, the Cromer Street Massive, the Denton Boys, the Drummond Street Posse, the NW1 Boys, aka Cumbo Gang, the Peckwater Gang, and WC1. The Drummond Street Posse hailed from around the busy Euston train station and were thought to have been involved in that 1994 killing of Richard Everett. The group was also allegedly involved in a violent clash with another gang, the Cromer Street Massive, from around King's Cross Station in 2003. In 2006, the Centric Gang received media attention after one of their alleged members, a young student named Mahir Osman, also known as Smiley, was brutally stabbed by alleged rival gang members from Tottenham. According to the news article, Centric Gang hailed from the Chalk Farm neighbourhood, where the famous music venue The Roundhouse is. But according to a childhood friend of Smiley, journalist Ismail Inarshe, Centric Gang were a Somali-based gang that had members all over the Camden borough. In 2007, another gang, the Denton Boys, who were from the Denton estate in the Kentish Town neighbourhood, were allegedly terrorising the neighbourhood, committing daily robberies and other violent crimes. In 2008, local news and blogs were reporting of another gang called the Money Squad, or TMS, reportedly another largely Somalian origin gang, who were allegedly selling large amounts of drugs around the Camden street markets. That same year, newspapers would also report of an alleged member of the Money Squad, Sharmak Hassan, being shot to death in what seemed like a gang-related incident. Years later, a reformed gang member and popular Muslim motivational speaker and social media influencer, Abu Taymiyyah Jailani, would talk about his time in Camden gangs, describing it as postcode wars, but also mentioning how his gang was mostly Somalians and Yemenis from Kentish Town, whereas their ops were African-British guys of a mixed race heritage.
It's it was, you know, before I continue, like, gangs is so interesting with gangs because when you get older, it's so wild. Especially when you talk to your dad, right? If anyone's dad went through a life and was wild, and it's crazy because, especially when you all went to school together, and you're like, dang, bro, turn into that. You're like, dang, bro, what happened to bro? You know what I'm saying? And all the gang is really the people that all grew up together. Usually the gang is just a lot of people that all grew up together. Obviously, bro, talking about like 100 people, and that's like an extensive network. But your group, at least usually, is about the people you middle school, high school with, and elementary. It's the same people you was playing catch with. It's usually the same people you play football with, the same people you play basketball with. We all made jokes in certain stuff. So you just kind of be with the people, and you're like, oh, that's the gang. Can you imagine if you went to travel to Central London where all the tourism at? You had to cross another postcode, what postcode was going on. If you weren't up to speed with what was going on in that area, you'd have gotten hoed. Damn. That is nah, y'all wars sound crazy, no, I ain't gonna lie. Like, but this was also the 90s and 2000s, and I could definitely say Cali in the 90s was a wild. They was wild in 80s and 90s, like they was wild. They was wild. So I know some tourists got hoes coming in like back then. But also, like, as a black person, like, it's gonna sound very sad. This is real though. Like, the Asian people doing that to the poor white dude, that ain't happening in America. And I mean that. I'm gonna say it again. That is not happening in America. To where something is going to happen to a white child, and you don't think the full force of the law police department is coming down on that gang. I'm gonna tell you what. Yeah, bro. Everyone getting life. 20 years. That's probably gonna be the safest spot in about 1 to 2 years. Like, And I'm gonna keep it all the way buck with you. So that's why I was like, I never really heard like, cause literally I was watching the documentaries of Mexican gang, and they were like, they had accidentally, I believe it was a family. It was a family had turned on the wrong street and ran into this Mexican gang, and the Mexican gang, like, it was a dead end, and the Mexican family ended up getting shot and killed. That entire gang was pretty much dealt with. Like, people got 20 years. It was done. It was time to clean up the streets. So, like, from looking at history and stuff, it's like, bro, like, you, for instance, like shooting a cop. Like, you shoot a cop, yeah, just know the whole world is coming down on your area, and y'all getting 20 to life immediately. So that's what I will say. Like, you kill, it's the same thing with, it's kind of like, even though Mexico is kind of wilding right now, it's kind of the same thing. Like, hey, bro, like, you know, not to, don't mess up certain stuff, bro. Like, hey, that's y'all area to wild out, but don't. It's the same reason why, like, you know, like Cabo, for instance, even though, like I said, Mexico's been kind of wilding lately, but over the years, generally, tourist spots were quote unquote the safest spots in Mexico. Why? You gonna mess up some money. You mess with the tourists, you messing with political money and everybody getting money in Mexico. Now you messing stuff up. Tourists buy all these things. Tourists makes the city go round, brother. You messing some stuff up. So, like, if you know, obviously this has been wilding lately, but before, you know, like, American tourists, now it's not so safe for American tourists. Oh, we got a problem. We got a problem. Right? So it's that same thing with LA as well. It's like, you know, y'all do all that wild stuff, but the moment you kind of bring that noise to, you know, you mess with a tourist, you wildin'. And we gotta have a correction. So, like, that is what I will say. If that is what happened, like that white kid dying, like, that's crazy. Because I'm gonna say in America, that's gonna fuck up the GDP. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You messing with real money. You messing with the state's money. You messing with, you know what I'm saying? You messing with the city's money. Now you playing. They not here to hear none of that playing. You know what I'm saying? So that's why that is shocking to me. I'm like, yeah, it will be wild for tourists, but if it do happen, I'm telling you, it's gonna be up. It's the same way in America. A lot of games, you see somebody, it's like somebody fight a cop, you like, you wild. Yeah, you don't care about life. You even watch other games, it's like, man, nah, but we ain't trying to kill no cop, bro. Like, a cop is crazy. Like, you trying to do what? Y'all watch the old mom movies, it's like, nah, we ain't trying to do all that, bro. That's a different level. Like, and it's like, nah, because they know what comes with it. Like, that's a lot going on. Like, they gonna go crazy because of that. So that's something that I will say, watching this documentary, that is probably the wildest thing. That a little white child died and, like, all hell didn't break loose in terms of, like, the cops cracking down. Like, oh, yeah, no, y'all lost your minds, brother. Oh, no, y'all tripping. Before I continue, it's saying he mentioned Lil Durk earlier. Like, Lil Durk's group killing FBG Duck in, like, downtown Chicago. Like, because they just, I think, allegedly, I think Lil Durk's people that he knows, allegedly, I think they just got found guilty for FBG Duck's murder, I believe. I don't know for sure. I don't want to get nothing crazy. Just, I'm gonna say allegedly, but I believe the whole reason that even got taken down so crazy, and the feds took it, bro. You kill people in downtown Chicago. If they had done it in the hood, it would have been like, that's whatever. Downtown Chicago, bro, where everybody is, you wildin'. You wildin'. And y'all, we're gonna make an example, because apparently y'all hard-headed. Y'all think y'all can just do whatever. So, 50 years. 30 years. 40 years. Because, oh, you think it's sweet. Listen, y'all can do whatever in the hood and areas that y'all in. Y'all wanna do that over here, though? You wildin'. And we're gonna make a point. Because this right here, this is the money maker. When you mess with city money, you tripping. They gonna figure it out for you, brother. My fault, let's continue. I want a little rant.
Mostly like Somalis and Yemenis. Okay, he was more situated in Kentish town, but used to come to Camden a lot because the other elders were there. who was trying to, at that time, rep this postcode called NW1, and we used to fight against these African British guys, mixed race guys, all because of a postcode. I have all these scars on my head, on my body. A friend of mine was shot, and this was in Camden. It was the reason as to why I left the streets.
Another example of how race and ethnicity have for the longest time been central in igniting Camden's gang conflicts is a 2009 local news report identifying so-called no-go zones in certain Camden neighbourhoods, including the Peckwater estate, home of the Peckwater gang in Kentish Town. In these no-go zones, patrolling officers were reportedly commonly attacked with rocks by gangs when they tried to enter the estate. Moving into the 2010s, a special task force was set up by the Camden police in an attempt to tackle gang-related violence. This led to numerous arrests of alleged drug gangs in Camden, including in the Queen's Crescent area. By 2011, tensions boiled over between minority youths, many of whom were affiliated with local gangs, and the London police. In the wake of the fatal shooting of alleged gang member Mark Duggan by the police in nearby Tottenham, this brutal use of force on London streets, followed by the Met Police attempting to avoid accountability for the killing, led to days of major protests which escalated into riots all over London, including Camden. Despite the unrest, violent crime in London fell significantly during the first half of the 2010s, bottoming out in 2014 when the homicide rate actually fell below 100 per 100,000 inhabitants, which was largely attributed to the London police's fight against gangs. However, already the following year in 2015, the homicides begun increasing again significantly, with this actually coinciding with the emergence of UK drill music in mainstream London youth culture, as artists such as the 6-7 Crew and Harlem Spartans begun to gain popularity throughout the city, giving the whole world a window into life as a young gang member on one of London's many dangerous estates. These early pioneers of the UK drill genre and the beatmakers who brought these lyrics to life eventually led to the distinctive sound of UK drill being born, with the sliding 808s, wavy percussive patterns, and creative snare placements that made it a unique sound and eventually a global movement. As the sound of UK drill would later spread to the projects of Brooklyn and the Bronx.
I'm sorry, 6-7 Monkey is crazy. That can't be bro name. That's insane.
Tensions boiled over between minorities, many of whom were affiliated with local gangs, and the London police.
That happened in your area, This happened in your area? Oh no, that's sick.
Alleged gang member Mark Duggan by the police in nearby Tottenham, this brutal use of force on London streets, followed by the Met Police attempting to avoid accountability for the killing, led to days of major protests which escalated into riots all over London, including Camden. Despite the unrest, violent crime in London fell significantly.
Damn, bro, because it's, I mean, just with anything, right? It's like, people just, once people kind of already see how you are, they're going to make an assumption. So it's like, well, even if bro wasn't doing nothing, like, well, I mean, he just nothing but a, it's like, bro, come on, bro, we humans. Because y'all get paid, no matter what, police get paid. Y'all are paid in your honor code. Uphold the law. So y'all going to be held to that standard.
During the first half of the 2010s, bottoming out in 2014 when the homicide rate actually fell below 100 per 100,000 inhabitants, which was largely attributed to the London police's fight against gangs. However, already the following year in 2015, the homicides begun increasing again significantly, with this actually coinciding with the emergence of UK drill music in mainstream London youth culture, as artists such as the 6-7
Nah, I ain't gonna lie. 6-7 Monkey is crazy. I really hope his name isn't Monkey, bro. That's gotta be racist. Like, you definitely setting up white people to be racist. What are you, monkey? Nah, that's crazy. Like, that's nasty work, bro. That's nasty work. That's nasty work, yo. I really hope the dark-skinned dude's name is a monkey. Like, that's nasty work. What? It sounds like he got named by Frieza. Like, is that number 67? Say it. Number 67 monkey? Like, yeah, nah. Somebody call Goku. Whoever named him must have been Frieza. We gotta call Goku. Buffalo, y'all. RIP the old boy that died, though.
Crew and Harlem Spartans begun to gain popularity throughout the city, giving the whole world a window into life as a young gang member on one of London's many dangerous estates. These early pioneers of the UK drill genre and the beatmakers who brought these lyrics to life eventually led to the distinctive sound of UK drill being born, with the sliding 808s, wavy percussive patterns, and creative snare placements that made it a unique sound and eventually a global movement, as the sound of UK drill would later spread to the projects of Brooklyn and the Bronx in New York, influencing some of the Big Apple's most prominent drill artists like 22Gs and Pop Smoke. Also in 2015, many news outlets begun reporting on maps published online showing the alleged territories of different gangs in London. One of these maps is still available and appears to list gangs in Camden such as the QC blocks, Camden Marleys, Somerstown, Cumbo blocks, Drummond Street Posse, Cromer Street Massive, and Agar Grove.
Summertown? Is Summertown the one that inspired Summer House? I wonder. From Top Boy?
Interestingly, many of these same gangs are mentioned in a 2019 Guardian article about knife gangs in London, which actually prompted a gang expert and former police officer from Camden to comment on these gangs on Twitter. He would dispute some of the information provided about the gangs.
Kenny Meisner's the name was made up as a joke by one of the criminal people that did on the lot. As we had known, the name stuck on our systems. They never called themselves any name. Oh, snap.
Camden, and elaborating on how QC and Agar
By and large, the gangs didn't fight for control. QCAG were fraud and with infighting. The illusion of gang where Summerstown and South Camden are pretty much the same group. Okay.
Grove were fraught with infighting, ultimately concluding how things turned for worse after 2014 when
United Mechanical began to turn up and spice pushed by Eastern European supermarkets.
new gangs arrived in the territory of Camden all around the same time as an important gang police team was disbanded. It's around this time that the gangs involved in the events of this video begin truly getting active in the streets of Camden, as young men and teenage boys from the area would get sucked into the local gang politics and their deadly conflicts. In this story, there will be many names of many young men who played a role in the war playing out on the streets, as well as in the recording studios where those battling for dominance on the streets of Camden would boast and brag about their activities on the roads. However, there's one name that stands above all of them when it comes to brutality and notoriety. That's a young man by the name of Tariq Kennedy Mangal Monteiro, who you might know better as Suspect.
The mission was simple.
I ain't gonna lie, bro name is hard. Bro name is Suspect. That's a fire name.
Suspect, real name Tariq Monteiro, was born on February the 27th,
Damn, what the
2000. Suspect is often...
Hey, yo, what'd you do? Call his mom? What the hell? This nigga got the photo album, bro. Hey, yo, bro. Hey, yo, this is great. This is crazy. The fact that he has this picture is wild. We gotta at least say that. Like, can we admit that this is wild that he has this picture? My fault. I'm wilding. It's been better than TMZ. The hell? Nah, that's crazy.
Thought to be of Somali descent due to his many close friends being Somalian, and he's even known to use the language. However, his parents are often claimed to be of a Moroccan and Cape Verdean or Guinea-Bissauan descent. Thus, his last name Monteiro, which has Portuguese origins, as Cape Verde and Guinea-Bissau were once both Portuguese colonies. Yet others seem to think that his last name is actually due to the fact that Suspect grew up much of his childhood in foster families, with the foster family he would eventually settle with perhaps being of Cape Verdean or Guinea-Bissauan origin. However, when it would later come to his affiliations in the racially motivated gang wars on the streets of Camden, he would identify very much as Somalian. The reason why Suspect was placed in foster care is not entirely clear, but it was allegedly not because his parents weren't in his life, with some fans online seemingly arguing that it was actually because his behavior was already so out of control that his real parents couldn't handle him. But this is all just speculation. However, what we do know, based on his social media, is that Suspect seemed to first settle in the Somerstown neighborhood in Camden. This is where he would allegedly first meet guys like S Wavy and SY, who would later move to Agar Grove, as well as people from Cumbo, such as Chinks. Later, his...
Oh, Suspect knows Chinks? Oh, snap. I didn't know that. They said he was so bad that his parents just... I can't even... Yeah, they used to be boys. Oh, I didn't even know that. Oh, snap, that's crazy. They beefing. Oh, they beefing. Oh, that's sad. That's all I said. No, I'm telling you, I'm telling y'all, it's really crazy. Like, when you grow up, it's like, dang, bro, we all play football, basketball. Like, it's really wild. Then you're like, dang, bro, like, it's really that serious. So when y'all really go back and you watch, like, old, like, gangster movies, and they say it themselves, they're like, yeah, bro, you knew, bro, we used to always hoop and play football, and it's like, man, this is where we at now. Like, it's really wild. I have a hard time believing his parents gave him to foster care because he was just too much to handle. Especially if his parents, like, moved to the UK. Like, I just have a hard time seeing parents give up their kid. But I don't know, you know, like I said, I don't know his story, but that just seems like, I don't know. I feel like there's more to it than just all that. But obviously, I'm not here to investigate his, like, super life story, every detail.
Foster parents who now resided in Tottenham seemingly couldn't control Suspect either, and at one point he went missing, leading to the local news appealing to the public to help find a young suspect who had gone on the run as a 14-year-old. It seems that a week later, the police were able to locate Suspect, most likely hanging around his old stomping grounds in Camden. Suspect had been going on the run since he was a small boy, and this perhaps foreshadowed his later infamous actions as a wanted man. To him, just age 14, being a wanted man and ducking the authorities was just an everyday activity. By all accounts, it seems that Suspect's childhood was a challenging one, where personal, family, and friend circle issues all contributed to escalating problematic behavior, which is also plainly evident on his old Facebook accounts. Due to Suspect's young age at the time, there isn't too much public information about the specifics of his dealings with the law, but later reporting about Suspect's court appearances seem to have revealed that he had an extremely lengthy criminal record even as a
Flames, this was your area? Damn, he was hiding in there? That's crazy.
Child, apparently having received a total of 18 convictions on a total of 41 offences. This includes charges for drug dealing and battery in 2013, an apparent 4 robberies in 2014, and other lesser charges.
Damn, nigga! My fault. Damn! Hey, man. Hey, man. 41 counts is crazy. 18 and nah, that nigga. It's like he gave himself a pop quiz to see if he just still had it. Like, yeah, okay, that's what I'm just okay. If I still, bro had his own training arc. Nah, this is wild, bro. This is crazy. Nah, that's insane, bro. Yeah, this is 100,000 chances. Man, leave him alone.
Assaulting a police officer in 2017. How many times suspect has been locked up is also unclear, but what we do know...
Assaulting a police officer, listen, I'm gonna say this too. That is, he was born in the year 2000, he was young as hell. For assaulting a police officer, that has to be done by somebody young. This is why people be like, yo, gangs are filled with young people because young people don't always think about the consequences. Because when you're young, you think you're invincible. You think you're impeccable. You haven't been through life yet. When you're older, you're like, consequences. I don't know. You're like, damn, that's a guaranteed 20 to life. I don't think I'm cool with that. So you might like, yeah, I'm not doing it. But somebody young that's like, I never even been in jail, bro. It's gonna be cool. Like, you know about jail. Like, I wouldn't get caught. I wouldn't do this. Opposed to somebody older. That's why young dudes are always the ones doing stuff. Yeah.
No, is that during some of those incarcerations, he met other youngsters who would turn up and later become highly influential figures in the UK.
What's going on, Jeff?
This includes Kennington rapper Lowski from the Harlem Spartans, who actually discussed doing time with Suspect in 2016.
He wasn't rapping then, and I wasn't seriously either. I had made but I went to jail for, so I definitely wasn't rapping. Well, back in recent years, he started rapping, and I think he's alright. If I see someone I know trying to come over, I'll rap with him. Oh, Lowski was... Oh, him and Lowski is cool? Oh.
Just as he had released his breakout drill anthem Hazards. Suspect apparently also spent time with members of the 6-7 gang, whose rappers such as LD and Dimsy were some of the first UK drill artists to blow up back in 2014. Once again, here we see a teenage suspect going to jail and meeting people who are also locked up, but enjoying infamy on the streets, all resulting from UK drill songs they had released while they were free. And I would expect that there was a certain level of admiration that Suspect might have had seeing his incarcerated peers making a name for themselves with drill music. And much like the UK rappers that he looked up to, it seemed that Suspect was also infatuated with Chicago drill music, being seen on Twitter declaring his appreciation for Lil Durk as early as 2013. However, it was clear during this time that Suspect wasn't happy with his circumstances in life. Already as a young kid, Suspect would tweet about his life being depressing and insinuating that his actions in the streets had already brought him dangerous enemies. Indeed, gangs do appear to have been part of Suspect's life for a long time. In his old Facebook posts, a young Suspect can be seen throwing up a C hand sign, but the meaning of this exact hand sign has been contentious and subject to debate amongst fans. It does seem that in 2012...
Lowski in jail now too. I'm guessing the C was for... Would the C be for Camden? Because I'm guessing there's no Crips in... Allegedly. Like, I'm guessing there's no Crips in the UK. I don't know. And this is why, like, I saw Future say something like, bro, I'm not forcing nobody to... Come on, man. Like, y'all are. Like, we, especially, like, black people, we do look at entertainers. They do. You guys do influence us. You do influence kids for real. It's just not act like you don't. Like, that's... Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. So entertainers, especially in black communities, for sure. We do look up to entertainers. And I'm gonna be honest, like, I rocked with Chief Keef and them heavy. Like, I would never do that type of stuff though. But Chief Keef and them had him on repeat. Like, Chief Keef was, bro, I just want people to understand Chief Keef was the guy. Chief Keef and the whole Chicago drill movement, G Herbo, Lil Durk, they had like Lil Bibby, Lil Reese, Fredo in the Cut, that's a scary sight, Fredo Santana, like, bro, they had a wave for real. Like, and it was that serious. So I don't like when entertainers try to act like, oh no, there's no way kids would look up to me. Don't tell your kids. Like, come on, bro. Like, you know what it is. Well, he's in jail now too. It's crazy.
2012 to 2014, the C was referring at least partly to Cumbo, an estate which Suspect also appears to mention in early lyrics that he had posted to his Facebook. Okay. Ironically, at the time, gangs throwing up the C was incredibly similar to what the Los Angeles-based Crip gangs would do, and these London-based crews were seemingly taking a lot of inspiration from the Crips, opting to wear blue and using the blue paisley bandana to identify themselves in clothing, as seen...
Okay, there it is. There it is. The same... first of all, Trap Lord, please don't say at the same time, it looks like... Bro, no. No. First of all, no. Second of all, no. Third of all, no. Fourth of all, no. Fifth of all, no. I am from Long Beach, California. There has been Crips since I believe they formed in late 70s. Tookie Williams, yeah, 70s, late 70s. I think early, I want to say mid to late 70s. There wasn't. Oh, they started in the late. No, 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 no. Crips have been been alive doing throwing up the sea for a very long time. For a very long time, brother. Yeah, Crips and Bloods whole rivalry in the 80s. So please don't. Well, coincide at the same time. No, it wasn't the same time. Them niggas saw Crip videos when they got a little older. They probably start seeing some Crip videos, and they were like, "Oh, this looks cool." Bro, Tookie Williams, like, come on, bro. There's been a lot of, come on, man. Snoop Dogg. Everybody knows Snoop Dogg was a Crip in the 90s. Like, bro, so you think coincide, bro? It just started happening. I just don't like the way he said that. My Cali side came out, and I'm not a gang member. Don't bang nothing. I don't rep. I don't agree with the lifestyle, nothing. But please don't try to coincide at the same time. It's crazy that California was throwing it up. So it feels like they tried to. No, bro. California been doing it. Oh yeah, welcome back, Fraser. But come on, man, don't say it like.
Subject to debate amongst fans. It does seem that in 2012 to 2014, the
Just don't say
was
it like
referring
that.
at least partly to Cumbo, an estate which suspect also appears to mention in early lyrics that he had posted to his Facebook. Ironically, at the time, gangs throwing up the sea was incredibly similar to what the Los Angeles-based Crip gangs would do, and these London-based crews were seemingly taking a lot of inspiration from the Crips, opting to wear blue and using the blue paisley bandana to identify themselves.
I think I heard him wrong. My fault, y'all. I'm going back a little bit. I think I made old bro apologize. I think I heard it wrong.
It wasn't happy with his circumstances in life. Already as a young kid, Suspect would tweet about his life being depressing and insinuating that his actions in the streets had already brought him dangerous enemies. Indeed, gangs do appear to have been part of Suspect's life for a long time. In his old Facebook posts, a young Suspect can be seen throwing up a C hand sign, but the meaning of this exact hand sign has been contentious and subject to debate amongst fans. It does seem that in 2012 to 2014, the C was referring at least partly to Cumbo, an estate which Suspect also appears to mention in early lyrics that he had posted to his Facebook. Ironically, at the time, gangs throwing up the sea was incredibly similar to what the Los Angeles-based Crip gangs would do.
Oh, he talking about gangs in general throwing up the sea was okay. He said ironically at the time, gangs throwing up the sea were a lot like what people did in Crips in Cali.
Okay. These London-based crews were seemingly taking a lot of inspiration from the Crips, opting to wear blue and using the blue paisley bandana to identify themselves in clothing, as seen on one of Suspect's 2012 Facebook posts where he called himself a CYG. Elsewhere on his Facebook, he would post numerous pictures throwing up the sea, as seen here with the caption, Seatown, Cumbo, Camsterdam. Suspect would also answer questions on his Facebook via a Q&A app called Ask FM, where he would reveal that he and his friends spent the majority of their time in 2014 in Somerstown or Cumbo, even explaining to people where Cumbo is. Although
Is Summer House influenced by Summertown? I wonder where that name came from Top Boy. But I mean that makes sense because I remember Chinks had a lot of blue on, and I was like, why does Chinks wear so much blue? Like Crips in UK? So this is like.
Although a young Suspect would also claim in these Q&As that he didn't particularly respect the older guys from his neighborhood. In addition to the Cumbo C, all the way back in 2012, Suspect was seemingly also throwing up a CT for Cracktown. Later, around 2015, Suspect and his friends begun repping the letters CG. But once again, what those letters represent exactly is somewhat unclear.
There it is. I don't got no respect for my old heads. I'm telling y'all, stuff be. There it is. I told y'all about it. It's always an interesting thing.
Suggesting that they referred to either Camden Gang or Cumbo Gang, whilst others have suggested that CG was actually referring to Centric Gang, or the Centric Boys or Centric Crew, who had been active in Camden since at least the 2000s. This theory appears to hold some water due to the fact that journalist Ismail Anashe explained in his blog that Centric Gang were a group of young, Somali-based gangsters that had members all over the Camden borough. Because what we know for sure is that eventually Suspect began hanging out with many Somalian teenagers, who hailed predominantly from Camden's Agar Grove estate, using the initials AG. This gang would eventually become known as Active Gang, and through 2013 and 2014, Suspect was extremely active on Facebook, working his way through numerous different accounts. He would post pictures of himself on the block with his gang, and continuing to answer Q&As, openly responding to questions from friends and probably anonymous ops, all about the gang life that he was living as a teen.
You men are only known.
teenager during these years. He would use these Q&As to diss rival gangs from nearby Rowley Way, with people asking him who's more certified in the streets, him or his friend S-Wavy. Suspect would explain how he was banned from Regent's High School in year 8, refusing to say why he got arrested, and explaining that while doing these Q&As that he's 14 and in year 9 at school, even naming and shaming his biggest ops in Camden and saying that he's going to beat up an op named Luke. At one point, he even gets pressed by an older G in his area who says, "Listen carefully, I don't want to hurt you. You're a young buck, but you can't come to my block," with a defiant suspect telling this old gang member to catch them and taunting them, saying that their estate is scared of him. Other comments would come in dissing suspect and saying he's not really a bad boy, and people would even mock.
This was the crazy part about year 8 is crazy. Year 8 is crazy. That nigga said year 8. I think he was saying like, I was really trying to hope that he said it like year 8 or year 9, like, you know, like you kind of start school year 5 and, you know, 9 years is 14. So I was trying to like lead him. Like, I didn't know how the UK system is, so I'm just kind of, yeah. But that's like, oh, bro's an old head, right? Like, he's beefing with a 14. That's another thing about the gang life. Like, you're beefing with a 14. Like, whoever that old head is, maybe he's like 19 or 20. And he's beefing with a 14. He's like, bro, I don't want to do nothing to a 14-year-old. Like, bro, what's going on? Like, this is what we doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what, you know, that life is, man. Like, all ages, man. All ages. So it's, and like, when stuff happens to the young people, like, how did the young dude get involved? It's like, the young dude says something crazy, bro. Year 8 is like 7th grade, I think. I thought he was. I was trying to give bro the benefit of the doubt. Like, he's like, no, I'm year 8 or 9, which max up to him being like 13 or being 14. Like, cool.
His gang and their members for being so young. People would reply to Suspect saying that gang beef is pointless, with Suspect replying saying he will never get touched and that it's not really beef if he never gets touched, and that he vows to get his ops, whilst others would reply and claim that Suspect and his gang have actually been touched. Clearly, as a teenager, Suspect had gotten himself deeply invested in the gang lifestyle, not just physically as a member, but mentally, and ultimately he would end up surrounded by fellow gang members with the same mindset and background as him. So let's take a closer look at the gang and some of the members who would run the streets with a young Suspect. Before we go any further, I've just got a quick favour to ask you. If you're enjoying this video and my channel in general, please consider subscribing to my Patreon to watch the fully uncut 4.5-hour version of it for just a consistent budget to create bigger and better videos all the time. In this video, you'll see that I actually went and filmed on location.
Shut up, bro. Shut up, bro.
Over the years, Suspect would build a network of young gang affiliates that he would run with in the streets of Camden. Part of this lifestyle was drug dealing, or trapping, as it's more commonly referred to in music. Suspect and his friends were deeply involved in the drug trade, and they didn't care who knew it. In fact, one infamous video circulates depicting Suspect and his friends in a trap house making junkies dance for their amusement. As the story goes, Active Gang, the most recent and famous incarnation of the Camden gang set that Suspect claimed, was created around 2017 by local youths of predominantly Somalian backgrounds. The founding members came from around Agar Grove Road, not more than half a mile from Camden Town's most popular tourist attractions. The members came from the Agar Grove Estate and the nearby Maiden Lane, Broadfield Lane, and St. Pancras Way estates. Most had previously repped the older Camden sets like Centric Gang, Cracktown, or CT1, much like Suspect. However, Suspect was not one of the original members in Active Gang, and he seemingly never actually lived around the Agar Grove Estate. Or perhaps that's just how people see it, due to the fact that his foster family was actually based in Tottenham, but Suspect himself would go on the run wherever he wanted in Camden as a teenager.
So basically, his official area was there, but he probably grew up with them. He probably really just kept. He probably was the dude that, like, you know, every time he went missing, he went over there. That's interesting. And here's where, like I say, like, if you ever go to, like, you say you watch movies, right? It's usually that, like, the young kid, there's a young kid leader of the group has a connection to the old head. Because there has to be a connection with the old head, because old heads, whether it's a good OG or a bad OG, helps keep everything intact, right? But it doesn't seem that they had that. They all repped whatever area they was repping, but it doesn't seem that they, and they even said it doesn't seem that Suspect allegedly may have had a ton of respect for the older heads. So, and that has to be something there, because especially with youths, right? Young dudes, the young tiger, the young lion, still has to know that who the king lion is. And if that's not clear, young lions always buck.
Major. Now, Active Gang is commonly referred to with the initials AGB, with the full name, according to the fans, supposedly being the Active Gang Boys, Active Gang Bandits, or Active Gang Bloods. However, Suspect in the song Caught in the Rain seems to insinuate that the name could also be Active Gang Bloodhounds. But regardless, there's a lot of names and faces that are going to be relevant when it comes to discussing Suspect's side of the war in Camden. One important name in the history of Camden gang beef is Mitch. He's often considered to be the founding father of the street crew that would eventually go by the name Active Gang, with some claiming that Active Gang was actually started in his honor after he passed away. Then there's his cousin, S45. You also have AK, and then there's SY, aka Stain, Striker, Hitman, and his brother Blitz, Broad Day, aka Broad Day Assassin or BA, S-Wavy, AR, aka Armed Response, who interestingly also like Suspect went missing.
This nigga's name is Armed Response. It's crazy. Nah, that's crazy, nigga. Niggas are just verbs. Like, nigga's name is Active Response. What? What? This nigga's a verb. Like, what? What? Like, how do you, like, I don't even know. Like, I don't even know how your lawyer defeats that. What's his name? Active Response. So, no bail, Your Honor? No bail? No bail. No, you know,
as a teenager in 2014. There's Reeks and also Too Smoky. Now, Active Gang members from Agar Grove would also link up with other sets from the nearby neighborhoods, building alliances against their common enemies. Another street crew from the area that they're allied with is FSG, or Finesse, Stack, and Grind, from the Denton and Ferdinand estates in the Chalk Farm neighborhood, with prominent members like T-Scam, who has made a name for himself as a rapper in recent years, as well as having an extensive connection to street activity. Another area that's connected with Active Gang crew is NRB, or the North Road Bandits, from the York Way estate and Corporation Street, including members like Yevs and ML, and of course the historic crew with origin from the Cracktown set CT1, hailing from the Kernook, Three Fields, and Bayham Place estates, with members like Traps and Alert. The alliance between these gangs will be known as 71st, based on the N7 and NW1 postcodes that these areas are located in. However, possibly due to the massive fame that Active Gang achieved in the UK drill music scene, many of the members from these affiliated gangs have been primarily repping AG, or Active Gang, leaving gangs like CT1 to be referred to less in favour of Active Gang, or more broadly, 71st. But of course, there's no such thing as a gang without ops. So now, let's take a closer look at the other side of the coin and understand the group of rivals that these young men have been in a years-long war with.
That's gonna call it right there. So we're gonna leave it here, man. If you guys want a part 2, please like it up. I wanted to give at least 30 minutes of react to the first 30 minutes at least. We got a lot to dive into. It's a sad situation. It's very interesting that a lot of things all line up. A lot of similar things to America in terms of, you know, people moving in to a different area now, looking for a better life in the low income places, you know, different races, taking over areas that used to be predominantly white, and racial tensions and things of that nature and protection. Like I said, the only thing that really shocked me was the young white boy dying, because I'm not gonna lie, that happens in America. I guarantee you, there's gonna be a huge crackdown, especially in low income areas. But yeah, it's very fascinating. We're gonna continue going. I hope you guys enjoy my reaction. I always try to give it up honestly, man. I'm gonna put my other UK drill reactions. I had a UK drill document I did a whole bunch a long time ago. I think it was Hamburger versus so and so, and my postcode wards Aussie drill reaction. So I wanted to keep it a buck and be honest with you guys, and always give it up. And this was heavily requested, so I'm getting to it. Show love. I appreciate y'all as always, man. It's your boy Chosen. Like, subscribe for part 2. You gotta like it up, comment it up, man. It's your boy Chosen. I'm out.